Hi guys. I have to show you a little bit about adding and subtracting integers. Although your teachers in the past have done a wonderful job trying to teach you this, I know that there are sometimes when this becomes very confusing because people aren't sure what to do with the positives and the negatives. So I'm going to try to explain to you here very quickly how to, well, I shouldn't say quickly, but how can you manage to make this a little more simple? So these are just some of my math tricks that I like to use to help you guys become better with integers. So I'm only going to talk about adding and subtracting integers here. And when you listen to me talk, I'm not going to say anything about let's add these two together or let's subtract these two. I'm going to say let's put them together. So listen for the put them together. I'm going to just put them together. So here's my first example. A lot of people will see something like this. -4 plus 3. Okay, so they read it as -4 plus 3. So to them, it looks like it is a number sentence, an addition sentence, but it is actually not an addition sentence. What you actually have here are two things. You've got you've got 4 negatives and 3 positives. And notice that I said those backwards. I said 4 negatives, 3 positives. I didn't say -4 and +3. I said I have 4 negatives, 3 positives. The reason we do that is because whoever has more, the positives or the negatives, they are going to be the winner. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. If you do not have to do this for every single one that you'll ever do, but I want to show you this so you can see it in your brain, and you can those of you who are very visual can check this out. There are going to be 4 negatives, and there are going to be 3 positives. And what happens in all positives and negatives, and this happens in science and it happens in other classes and chemicals and all kinds of different things, is positives and negatives wipe each other out. They take things away from one another. So here's what we're saying. This negative takes away that positive, that one, that one, that one, that one, and we are left with 1 negative. So here's what we're saying. If there's 4 negatives and 3 positives, the negatives are going to win, and there's going to be one of those left after it wipes out 3 of the positives. So if you'd like to picture it, you can picture it as these ones, and you can wipe them out if you like. But our answer now is going to be that we will have 1 negative remaining. So I like always look at this is who is there? There's 4 negatives, there's 3 positives. I know there's more negatives, they're going to win. How many are going to be left after they battle themselves? Well, there's going to be 1 negative that is remaining. Okay, let's try another one. For example, let's say I have +5 minus 3. So we'll read it again as though it was a subtraction sentence. 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Yes, we know that. But if you look at this through the eyes of the integers, here's what we have. 5 positives. That's a little bit of invisible math there. Anytime you see a number that doesn't have anything attached to it, we always say that it's positive. Invisible math, just things we're supposed to know. Okay, -3. So if I have 5 positives and I have 3 negatives, I know the positives are going to win. And if those 5 positives start to wipe out those 3 negatives, there's going to be 2 positives left. So my answer is +2, and I do not have to write the positive symbol, invisible math. So when in the world am I going to do a problem that's going to throw me the curveball? There's always a curveball in math. Here's the curveball. The curveball will be this. We actually will have a number sentence that looks like a subtraction, and it says minus a negative. Minus a negative is the only time that you ever have to do anything mathematically to help yourself out. These two symbols, if they are ever together, will always turn into a positive symbol. I just remember those two this way, and then they crisscross and they become positive. If you see that, that's what this has to turn into. It's the only thing you'll have to remember if you can remember these positives and negatives. So we will have 6 plus 2, and 6 plus 2 obviously gives us 8. Now, again, I'm reading that as a number sentence. You don't have to. There's 6 positives. There's 2 positives. They're all positives. Guess what happens when they're all positives? They don't wipe each other out. Okay, there's 6 of them. There's 8 of them. They go together. We have 8 positives. So when you're looking at positives and negatives, I don't like students to say, I have to add these, I have to subtract these. You don't have to do that. The only time you have to watch out for the trick is when you see something that is like that. Now, are we always going to have these nice, simple little ones like 4s and 3s and 2s? Absolutely not. Okay, we may end up with something like this. What happens if we have -50 minus 25? I read it again as a number sentence because that's what you're used to. But let's think about these as integers. I have 50 negatives and I have 25 negatives. They're all negatives. They're not going to fight. So 50 and 25 go together. I have 75 negatives. Negative 50 minus 25 is negative 75. Okay, let's say I got some bigger numbers that maybe switch up these positives and negatives. Well, what if I got this? Positive 25 and negative 100. In your brain, you might be able to see there's 25 positives and there's 100 negatives. So the negatives are going to win. I already know my answer is going to be negative because I know they're going to win the battle. Now, if I take 25 away from there, because 25 of these are going to wipe out those 25, 100 minus 25 gives me 75. That answer is also negative 75. Okay? And again, look at that. Any symbol in math that is in front of another number, that goes with that. Okay, this is negative 100. This is positive 25. Take a look at those. I hope this adding and subtracting integers might have cleared some things up for you. So if it does, hopefully you can become a math magician. And check it out. If you have any troubles, check with me whenever you come to school, guys. Awesome job so far. Keep up the good work.